This whole thing could be a spreadsheet.
Okay, stop presenting data in the same old boring table format in Excel. I'm just gonna give you a few really quick tips for how you can take this and turn it into something a little more like this. So we're gonna be getting our values out of these cells and putting them into an actual kind of like dashboard layout. So the first thing I like to do, just give it a background color. People often don't do this. Try something other than the same old white and gray grid lines. Even if you wanna keep the background white, just give it the actual white fill color so the grid lines don't show up. Next, learn to play with shapes. It's under the Insert tab. You got a bunch of options in here you can drop in. You can totally customize these however you want. I'm a big fan of gradient fills. I think they're really fun. You can do all sorts of weird stuff with them. If you want a fun little gradient hack, if you add in 3 steps to your gradient like this at a 0-degree angle and put them really close to each other, you'll get a nice clean line like this to break your background into 2 sections. I always tell people to get familiar with some of these styling options back here. You can add in drop shadows, glows, all sorts of fun stuff. And there's tons of little customization features to dial it in however you want, just like PowerPoint. Instead of putting all your text and labels in actual cells in the background like this, when you're doing this kind of layout, just insert a text box up here. Always drop out the fill and the line on these because you just want the text itself. One of the cool things about this, if you want to remake this every single time you have new data, you can actually tie the text box to a cell. You just type in the cell you want right up here in the formula bar, and it's going to link the cell to the text box. Next one, don't be afraid to use imagery. For some reason, we're always scared to use images and icons in Excel. Under the Insert tab, you can hit icons here. You can insert whatever icon you want here. Then in your formatting pane, you can give it a different color, style, fill, whatever. Also, don't be afraid to style your text in different ways, just like you would in PowerPoint, right? You'd use bigger fonts, smaller fonts, different colors to highlight things. People are sometimes scared to do this in Excel for some reason, but go ahead and do it. It can really make it easier to read, interpret, and direct your audience to focus on different areas. I mean, last but not least here, don't be afraid to just explore some of these features. Play around with them a little bit, because a lot of times we just don't know the option to customize stuff is available, right? Even this line, right? We can give it a gradient fill, maybe make it dashed instead of a solid line, change our width, transparency, do all this stuff that a lot of people just don't know is even available to them. And with just like a little bit of work, we've gone from this to something that a lot of people wouldn't have even guessed is in Excel. You know, people will sometimes say, well, why not just show them the data? Why do all this extra fluff? And the reason is that unless you're presenting to another analyst or something like that, normal people are going to engage with, interpret, and understand something in a format like this much more easily. Your audience matters. Their perception of the work you're presenting to them matters. So take the time to try out some of these basic design features in your Excel reports. It's honestly one of the easiest ways there is to make your work stand out. Anyway, hope that's helpful, everyone. I've got a bunch of other super in-depth tutorials over on my profile, and we send all these out for free every single week to people. So check it out if you want. Bye for now.